This is Future Talk.
Future Talk.
Future Talk with Omnia Al Saleh and Hani Balkis.
Welcome back to Future Talk right here on Pulse 95. It is me, Hani Balkis, with Omnia Saleh, bringing you everything you need to know of what's happening in the tech world, in the UAE, and around the world. But ladies and gentlemen, we have a very, very, very special announcement regarding the IGCF 2021, which does mean the International Government Communication Forum. Now it is set to take place next week on the 26th and 27th of September.
Yes, indeed. It's going to be a very exciting show that will be bringing together senior government officials, different communication experts, basically setting the guidelines on how communication will be happening in the future. We're also looking at world business leaders being at this event and exploring the best practices when it comes to government communication. They're also going to be tackling a very important topic that has basically been the lifeline during the lockdown, how the government communication has been happening in the COVID-19 pandemic and in times of crisis.
Yes, and ladies and gentlemen, we have our very own Morning Messages team going to be there covering it and interviewing all these senior government officials live. So it is an event to witness. And ladies and gentlemen, I do believe last year we did have IGCF.
Yes, from my memory. Yes.
Pandemic.
And this is actually very important because it sets or it marks the 10th year it happens.
Yes, so ladies and gentlemen, if you have free time on the 26th and the 27th, go over to the International Government Communication Forum at Expo on the 26th and 27th of September. But if you cannot go, do tune into Morning Messages during the timings, and they will be giving you all the updates you need to know and all the interviews with all those senior government officials. But let's jump all the way back to the technology news and how the UAE has topped the Arab world in future readiness.
Yes, indeed. This has actually been one of the best news that we could receive this week. They've also actually ranked very high when it comes to future readiness worldwide. Coming up on today's show, we're going to be talking about a drone transport company that is basically changing up the healthcare sector right here in the UAE.
Yes, and also we're talking about Snapchat and how it has a new lens or new filter that shows users how to fingerspell in American Sign Language. Now, believe it or not, I didn't know that sign languages had different languages.
Yes.
You know, if there's an Arabic sign language, there's an English, American, etc. I thought all languages are with the fingers speak one. Mm-hmm. But turns out there is an American, so we will be talking about that new filter or that new lens today as well.
Yes, indeed. In the world of weird tech, we have a very, very exciting gadget to talk about. One that I feel like is going to be coming in handy for a lot of people, especially those who tend to have lots of wires on top of their desks, because one wireless charging pad could basically make all those wires go extinct and charge your phone, your laptop, you name it, without even appearing on the desk itself.
Yes, and Amazon has also unveiled 3 new Kindles with bigger screens and longer battery life. I don't know why you need longer battery life on the Kindle, because I have a story to tell when that time comes. But ladies and gentlemen, we're taking a short break, and when we come back, we're talking all about the UAE and how they are ready for the future. We're going to leave you with a song that, I wonder if you played this game back in 2017, 2018, Ludo.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. That's
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
How ready are we for the future, especially when it comes to different aspects of technology? Self-driving cars, the future of mobility, the future of education, the future of everything in the tech sector. Well, when we look at the global index, when we look at the rankings of all the different countries around the world, the UAE actually is the first on the Arab world when it comes to future readiness, and it took the 3rd place worldwide. So globally, the UAE is 3rd on the rank when it comes to being ready for the future.
Yes, and they are among 27 emerging global economies according to the Future Readiness Index survey. And the UAE did rank 23rd out of 123 countries. Now, we do know that the UAE's high performance does reflect the vision of the country's leadership to prepare for the future and embrace innovation as the cornerstone of comprehensive development. Now, we know that the UAE has been accelerating at a, mashallah, very high rate when it came to technology and innovation. In the past 2 years, we've looked at so many initiatives, whether it's regarding to the government sector, the space sector. And you know what, Omnia? I found out recently that you can now change ownership of vehicles online through an app.
Wow.
Right? So let's say, Omnia, you want to buy my car. So instead of me and you going to the RTA, I'll have the app, I'll take your ID and license, and I'll put the car in your name after you give me money.
That is amazing. Everything has become digitized, whether it is buying groceries, whether it is changing your car license, updating or renewing your car vehicle registration. You name it, the UAE has definitely been accelerating when it comes to being ready for the future. Now, this report that came out actually ranked all of the countries in the world. We were looking at about 123 countries, and it actually showcased that the Emirates stood 3. Singapore claimed the first spot on that index, and the UAE's high performance definitely showcases how the UAE's leadership has definitely been focusing on preparing this country for the future, embracing the innovation, and it actually focused on 15 sub-pillars. So they were looking at the government competencies. So how able are they to prepare for the future? How able are they to adjust and adapt? How able are they to embrace the digital transformation that the whole world is going through? And also, how are they able to attract talent when it comes to research and development? And we've seen so many countries, so many projects that have actually taken the UAE as a home for them to kind of kickstart their projects. And one of the biggest is actually the Sharjah Research, Technology and Innovation Park. They have definitely been a big hub for many tech companies worldwide to come and invest right here in the UAE.
Yes, I mean, the UAE has taken the world by a storm when it did come to innovation, real estate. The UAE, mashallah, we've seen it top the ranks in literally everything. I mean, at one point in time, Abu Dhabi, the capital of the UAE, was deemed one of the safest, if not the safest city to live in the world. So when I'm looking at these rankings, right, I'm not really surprised because I can look at the technology and the innovation being done, number one, by the government, and number two, by the people. I'm not talking only about locals, even residents as well. They have been accelerating when it did come to technology, and we have, the best of both worlds when it does come to the UAE in general. Let us know your guys' thoughts, 4215 or on our Instagram at Pulse95 Radio. We're taking a short break, but when we come back, we're talking all about drone transport right here in the UAE for the healthcare sector.
Daily digital news. Bits and bytes connect our world.
The next time you need Panadol or some form of medication, you may not even need to go to any of the delivery apps to get it delivered. You may just get a drone dropping it off for you. This may be a bit, or may seem like it's a bit too far-fetched or too, fast forward into the future, but it's actually a reality right here in the UAE. It's more specifically in the capital of the UAE, Abu Dhabi, because there's one company that is launching a drone transport for the healthcare sector. I feel like this is going to be saving the lives of so many.
Yes, I mean, a lot of people have, resorted to using online delivery services for, groceries, food, and recently, pharmacies as well have been incorporating, for, let's say, for example, Talabat and Deliveroo to bring them their medications or even, over-the-counter painkillers. For example, me, I've used it a lot of times. I remember at one time at 2 a.m., I had horrible heartburn. And I ordered, what's it called? I ordered a pill or whatever. It's a tablet, you eat it. And within 3 or 4 minutes after I ordered it, it was already at my house. So imagine that is with a delivery driver. And now we're talking about drones. Now, this new venture actually does aim to become a unique transportation company, which does specialize in using the latest drone technologies. Now, we're talking about Skygo, and it is a disruptive technology company that does provide logistics and supply chain solutions by drones. Now, this isn't the first time that we've heard about drones being used to deliver goods and services. For example, I remember if we go back to 2016, Amazon wanted to use drones, for that last mile delivery. In Japan and China, we were talking about drones delivering to you pizza. But right here in the UAE, we're using it for better things, which is, delivering medical supplies to those who need it. Now, let's say, for example, I am a 70-year-old elderly man and I'm not able to, go down and I live in a building. A drone can be, fly up to my balcony and I can get whatever I want and go about my day, and I won't have to move as much because obviously I'm an old man and I'm tired and I have the problems and I need my medications. So I'm looking at this initiative being, groundbreaking because I do believe, right, that this is the first of its technology in the Arab world.
I definitely agree with you on that one. So this company has actually already been planning its stations where it's going to have drop-off stations. So there are about 40 stations that are scattered all over Abu Dhabi, and soon enough it's going to be all over the UAE, and they're planning to begin operating starting from next year. So this new venture is basically going to become one of the latest drone technologies that are currently used when it comes to the healthcare sector, and the way it functions is actually very simple. So we've all seen drones, drones that film. There are many drones that, you can attach cameras to it and you get beautiful, beautiful aerial shots. This one, though, it can actually transport the medication. So when it comes to rural areas, let's say areas where you may not have easy access through a car or through a van, you can basically get all the medication attached to it and just transport it with a drone. It's also easily propelled, so it uses different technologies to make sure that this drone is very effective in its nature. It cuts down on delivery time, and also with a lot of medications, even, I'm not sure if you know, but a lot of vaccines, when the COVID-19 vaccines were first made,
rolled out, yes.
Yeah, the big struggle was not with the vaccine itself, but rather with transporting it fast enough and making sure that it's not ruined during its journey to whatever country you're sending it to.
Yeah, a lot of, rural areas, and, we talked about developing countries having this problem transporting the vaccine, and a lot of drones were used to transport those vaccines safely and comfortably. Let us know your guys' thoughts, 4215 do a slot, or on our Instagram at Pulse95 Radio. Would you like a vaccine or medication in general to be, delivered to you via a drone, or you like the old-fashioned? Now, Talabat has become old-fashioned, delivery drivers. We're taking a short break, and when we come back, we got a lot in store for you guys.
Pulse 95.
Apps all around.
What's worth a click and download?
Do you know sign language? I was just going to ask. Did you ever learn any form of sign language back in school? You studied in the U.S.
Yes, but I never learned sign language because, I can speak, and people who...
So, even if you can speak,
yeah, they don't teach you it.
Really?
Yeah, why would they teach you sign language?
I don't know. I heard a lot of companies, a lot of schools actually taught American Sign Language.
I mean, if you had that problem, they would give you it. But,
in general.
In general, I mean, because you are then categorized to a specific class, where a lot of people have, they used to call it something regarding speech.
Okay, let's do a fun little exercise. You know how you can spell your name in sign language? It's a lot easier than you think.
Can you spell your name?
I'm going to spell your name. I just looked it up. So It's two fingers. So that's the H. That's the A. Oh, it's very easy. Then the N is... Oh, the N is complicated. Looks like a bunny. And then the Y is this.
Yeah.
This one.
Yeah, to say my name, it took you a good 40 seconds.
Yeah, but if you...
Imagine if you want to have a full-on conversation, it would be like...
Yeah, that's basically how American Sign Language works. But with Snapchat, you don't even need to learn American Sign Language. It can do it for you.
Yes, now to mark the International Week of the Deaf, Snapchat has created custom stickers and 3 AR lenses to encourage users to fingerspell. Now, the new features were designed by incorporating feedback and guidance from deaf individuals and hard of hearing employees that do work at Amazon, believe it or not. And they do use AI and computer vision technology, which was developed actually by a Hungarian startup called SignAll, which does focus on technology for deaf people. Now, I love this. I'll tell you why. Because deaf people, they can read, normal, words, and they can write. But, sometimes, let's say if you're watching an influencer, right? And, they vlog and they speak and there's no subtitles. What do you need? You need sign language. So we're now catering in technology. And, we see it on newscasts all the time. If it's a big news station, you'll see on the right-hand or left-hand corner a man or a woman, who's interpreting whatever, said news presenter or anchor is saying. So to involve this type of technology using AR and machine learning, I do believe that this is a great initiative by Snap, and we don't see a lot of, I'm going to say a big word, great things come out of Snapchat. Most of the time it's used, for maskhara, for jokes.
True. What's interesting about this is it's actually spreading more awareness about sign language. So for those of you who don't know, American Sign Language is actually the 5th most used language and most spoken language around the world. And the reason why I believe we should all, kind of at least learn a couple of things in sign language is because it's not you who is making the person in front of you more comfortable, but rather you actually entering the world of those who are around you, especially those who are deaf, who are hard of hearing. They have a lot to say. They have a lot to offer, and they know exactly what they want to say. It's just us who don't know how to understand them. So this new AR lens, the augmented reality lens that Snapchat is launching, is at least going to teach every single one of us to know exactly how to spell our name in sign language, just like I did right now with Hani. It'll also teach you common words like love, like hug, like smile, hi, bye. You'll know exactly how to say them in American Sign Language, and you can even capture and share those experiences with other people and other friends in chat.
Yes, let us know your guys' thoughts. If you're going to be using these Snap lenses, or someone who suffers from hearing impairment, and if this would cater to them and make their life a lot easier.
Check this out. Check this out. Pulse 95.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have a lot for you in this segment. Number one, we're talking about good gadgets that could save you a lot of time, especially when it does come to those hefty wires that you have all around your desk and space. But ladies and gentlemen, we have an announcement that is happening right here in Sharjah, and we're talking about the International Government Communication Forum 2021 and how it is set to take place next week on the 26th and 27th of September. Now, for those who don't know, the IGCF will bring together senior government officials and leading communication experts from around the world to be gathered right here in Sharjah.
Yes, indeed. At the Expo Center, we're looking to basically have this event discuss the different ways that the UAE's government has actually been tackling times of crisis, more particularly the COVID-19 pandemic. It was a tough time for everyone, and nonetheless, journalists were actually suffering quite a lot. So we're going to be hearing from big names, one of them being former British Prime Minister Tony Blair. His press secretary, Alastair Campbell, will actually be holding a workshop on crisis management strategies. He will be sharing his personal experience and basically some insights on what he did to be able to navigate the unexpected situation that the world was struggling through.
Yes, and one of my most favorite things that will be talked about at the International Government Communication Forum is false news and challenges that were faced by media professionals in times of crisis. And we do know that, fake news and, news that wasn't true been spreading all over online and social media was one of the main issues of 2020, 2019, and 2021. And ladies and gentlemen, we have our very own Morning Majlis team from Pulse 95 going to be there live covering the event and having, these senior government officials on the air with them throughout, the 2 days of the event. So if you're not able to go to the event, do tune into Pulse 95 to listen to all of what's happening so you don't miss any important topics. But speaking about important things, ladies and gentlemen, we're talking about IKEA's new $40 wireless charging pad and how it can mount underneath your desk or table, saving you a lot of space and a lot of wires.
Yes, indeed. If anyone knows me, they would know I am big on OCD. I hate clutter. I hate things looking cluttered. So this charging pad is actually a dream come true because a lot of the times, you'd be working on your desk and you're just thinking to yourself, if only I could charge my phone right now without necessarily having to get up and get the wire or even have the wire clutter up my desk. IKEA has got a gadget for all of us. It is what I would like to call the invisible charging pad, because the charging pad, known as Siomarke, if I'm not mistaken pronouncing it, it's basically a charging pad that would be magnetically attached to your desk, and it would basically work with pretty much any and every desk or table that you own, but it can basically charge your phone without having to be on top of your desk. So it has a double-sided tape end or edge that just attaches to your desk and will charge your phone no matter what type of phone you have.
Yeah, it does install underneath your desk and then is held in place, just like Omnia said, by a double-sided tape that is included. But you need to have something on your table that is made out of wood or, plastic, so it does not block that magnetic field that normal metals do have. Now, once you install the pad, plug it in with the 6-foot power cable. So we're talking about a pretty long power cable. And then mark the charging point on your table with the included X-shaped sticker. You're ready to charge your phone or any other device. Now, for $40, this might actually be an attractive option for people who don't want to mess up their decor with, those tacky pads, those wireless pads. And I've seen a lot of people do do-it-yourself DIYs on social media. Actually
putting it in boxes.
Not putting it in boxes. Actually, grinding the table or making a hole in the table, putting the said pad inside, and then, covering it up with another piece of wood. They do a lot of things.
Wow.
And, some of them would make big holes in wire placement. Some people are very big on wire management when it does come to their desktop and home setups. I feel like it's an amazing, thing, because you could just put it right there, charge it, boom, bam, bam, done, right?
And it's the little things that make all the big difference, because they always tell you a clear space or a clean space equates to a clean mind. And that's exactly what IKEA is planning to do with this new charging pad. For those of you who are worried about maybe the charger overheating, issues with the temperature increasing, or not being able to monitor the power, don't you worry, because this wireless charging pad has been more specifically designed to work against, as we mentioned, wood and plastic surfaces. So there is no fear of it overheating. All the technology is embedded within it to make sure that it is very, very safe for use.
Yes, I'm getting a shopping fever right now, ladies and gentlemen, and I might just get my hands on one of those chargers.
If you liked this episode of Future Talk, drop a like and subscribe.
Pulse 95.
Be sure to follow us on Instagram for all our daily updates and top stories.